Okay guys, I'm here today with Andrew Wiltse, huge honor for me, second time here at BJJ Fanatics. Guys, Andrew just shot an entire instruction all about his Buzzsaw No Gi passing, which is very cool. And today he's gonna show us a little bit more about that. And also one very good passing that he does from there, the snap down.
Like snap down into underhooks and knee slices.
Yeah,
and progressing
I love it.
from there.
Yeah, but go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, so the thing about passing no gi is that it actually takes a lot more nuance than passing in the gi. Okay, passing in the gi you can expose the outside of their hips, and because you have gi grips, you can then come down and control your opponent a lot more. Doing something like into the outside of Bernardo's hips in no gi, it's very hard to go from here to a full side control because it's very easy for him to get his frames back in. I don't have as much to keep his knees separated from his shoulders. So it's a mixture of what we can force, like versus what's effective, versus what mistakes we can cause him to make while we're setting up our first things, and we can start transitioning from A to B to C. Okay, so to start it off, we're assuming I got a sweep. Okay, Bernardo's sitting up, or I got a double leg and Bernardo's sitting up. And now the first thing I do is I look at their feet, elbows, and head. Okay, so on an opponent that's got his feet further out in front, he's got a bigger gap between his heel and his thigh. I can start looking for things like big step-ins here, where I can then bait Bernardo into either touching my leg, in which case I can now dig an underhook and start initiating a knee slice, okay? Or he will then try to retreat, in which case I will be able to follow him down into a prime leg pummeling situation where I have a lot of offensive options. He has less offensive options, okay? In a situation where Bernardo's feet are not closed off, okay, I might be able to start to walk around him and force him to follow me and start looking for inside steps off of that by getting him to plant his feet in certain ways, okay? But generally, if they're closing off their feet and they've got forward posture, okay, it's gonna be easier for me to look for low-hanging fruit, quick passes based off of looking for underhooks, looking for kimuras, looking for guillotines, and playing with their head, okay? So let's take, for example, I like to do a lot of snap-down guillotines, or snap-down into underhook or snap down into guillotine underhooks, okay? So what I would do in a situation like this, where his feet are closed off and I can't step in, first I have to be in a wrestling stance, because if he has forward posture and my hip level is actually above his head level, all it takes is him touching my legs, and he's gonna be able to not come forward, but as soon as he grabs my legs, he'll be able to pull his hips out from under him and pull my hips out from under me, and now I'm in a wrestling position where I started down. Okay, so I can't let that happen. So I have to actually be in a wrestling stance already. Okay, and now when I'm in my wrestling stance, I don't want to go below his head level. Okay, if I go below his head level, it's very dangerous in terms of him snapping me down into a guillotine, and then he might not finish the guillotine, but he will get his hips behind him, and I'll be in a front headlock, and that can lead to very dangerous roads. Okay, I don't get anything going off of that. So a good head level is either matched or slightly above him, okay? And remember, we are grip fighting our way in. I don't just come at him like this, I come at him like this, and I track their hands, okay? I want my hands on the outside of his hands with palm contact here. So that way, instead of visually reacting to each movement, I can feel the minutia of each twitch, and I can stay on the outside, and I'm not trying to get a dominating grip on him. I'm just trying to get closer to him, okay? Without letting him just reach out and grab my leg. So once I get close enough, I can start to look for my first initial attack, okay? You can see both of his elbows are pretty open. I can choose either side. I prefer underhooks on this side, so I'm gonna take my left hand, and as I start to club this down, okay, and for the record, don't do wide clubs here, because if he's ready, and you go to wide club and he slips your elbow, pops it up, just wrestle forward, basically. You can get punished. You guys slip your elbow and come in and double leg you. So you should be here, you should be straight out just like you're wrestling, okay? And it's gonna go down, and I'm just using this as a brace, okay? This lets me not just get this underhook, because I might be able to get this underhook from here, but it lets me stick this underhook, okay? If I were to just reach out for the underhook, unless I could sit him up towards me with a sticky hook, he will repummel me, okay? He will have the space, or he will make the space by backing his chest up and then repummeling. Now, if I put his head down, I can get this underhook for real. He can only run to his back now. If he tries to get up, I can turn him down. Okay, and now he's risking stuff like mount jumps to punish him, or just getting cow catcher down to where I can get side control.
I feel completely vulnerable here, Andrew.
It's not good for you to let me do this.
Yep.
But the first thing I look for from here is now, don't knee him in the face when you do this, but I just want to get my knee going towards the pocket of his hips. And when I do that, I want to make sure I don't let this hand get grabbed and pushed under me. It's not likely to happen, but you just have to be aware of your hand placement. I can keep it here, I can hover hand it, okay, but I need to be attached, okay? My hip starts to go, I get down into my knee slice position. Now, from here, I want to stabilize by getting my knee close to his body. I will reactively use my left hand either to club his head so I can maintain more pressure here. Because again, what gets him to repummel me is space. So holding this is supplementing pressure I should have with this hand. Okay, so if I've developed my pressure here enough, this hand is now free to do other things. But when things start to get sloppy, or I need to develop my pressure more, he tries to make space as we're coming down. This lets me connect more, and that's just about holding this underhook, okay? Sometimes mid-slice, from a quick slice like this, they do a really good job of getting some space and trying to repummel you, okay? So when I'm here and he's just almost repummeling on me, I'll 2-on-1 this and hug this, okay? And just like all my other knee slice instructionals, I'm always making sure that my upper body corkscrews across to counterweight my knee going forward as hard as it does, okay? And to connect to this. So this will let me connect till we get to the ground. Once I'm in a full knee slice entry, I can now get settled, club his head, bring my head to the other side, and work on pressure finishing him. So it doesn't always have to be the same snap down into underhook either. Sometimes I'm having not a lot of success sticking this underhook because my opponent is better. Okay, or they're better at repummeling. They're a little more savvy. So instead what I'll do is I'll use the hand I want to underhook with to snap them down into a front guillotine. But when I do the guillotine, I'm going to be switching between guillotine and a chin strap, okay? I just want to use this to maintain closeness to him again, because the closeness to him is what's going to let me get this underhook how I need it, okay? Now I'm pretty stable. Again, my knee goes in front, get my knee to the mat. Now most people react to the guillotine more than the knee slice. Okay, so from here, I keep the guillotine. I don't have to. I can let go and pressure finish, but I can use my knees to clear his hips. And because I have this guillotine, I can now start to transition to mount and finish this guillotine from mount.
Man, that's amazing.
That comes down to your preference. Do you want to get the position, or do you want to try to go for the submission and maybe risk getting the position?
No, that's amazing. Yeah, first, man, there's so many great details here that you touched that a lot of stuff caught my attention. So first thing, you have like the fastest knee cut passing that I ever seen. That you showed me that with the gi. So when you start showing, I was like, yeah, what are his tricks in order to maintain the knee cut no gi? Because knee cut no gi can be very tricky, right? Especially because it's slippery and this and that.
So the knee cut no gi I think is more effective than the knee cut no gi, and I think they're both one of the most effective passes. But generally, things that shut you down are things like friction on the knee,
yep,
where your knee line is now in front of my knee line. So I have something from De La Hiba. You know what I mean? Like I have to get moving here, and sometimes I have to move through this friction. And in no gi, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be able to get almost all the way down.
You can go even faster than you go.
Yeah, sometimes you go so hard that you actually slide past them, and you have to do stuff like use your underhook to then transition behind them.
I got it.
Which that happens almost exclusively no gi. It doesn't happen in the gi very often.
I got it. But the other stuff that here that caught my attention that was amazing was like how you step my head down in order to not let me go back and get the underhook, right?
It's the space that's gonna get me in trouble.
I got it. Yeah, but I knew that I can get the underhook, but I never stopped to think that I need my head up to create the space to get the underhook.
Now, some way you can, there's ways you can try to punish me for snapping down. Like I'm sure everyone's ran into where they tried to play with the head, and they actually snap themselves into a single leg or an ankle pick. Okay.
Got it.
So I'm really aware of when I'm doing stuff like this, or I'm doing stuff like this, of they get that greedy look in their eyes, or you can see their hands are already going for this leg or this leg.
And then you.
So what I do is, as soon as I see you going for that, instead of going for my underhook, I take this past.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And that can be a deflection to where I'm just countering what you're doing, or I can use that to attempt a pass. If I'm going to attempt to pass off it, I'm going to either X pass here and keep my weight on your forearm, or I usually jump. So when you commit to going for my leg,
Man,
I'm able to clear as I flick this through.
And I'm really thinking that I'm going to catch your leg.
Yeah, it's hard for you to see it move because
amazing.
your head's coming down.
I love it.
And even if this ends up, if this is the best that I get here, and I can't get down, he goes on his back, I at least caused back exposure where he now has to react, and I'm able to follow up with something. But a lot of times you end up on their back in a seatbelt.
But it's great that you're talking about that, because the entire Buzzsaw concept is about this, right? It's about creating actions and reactions and connecting the passings, right?
Yeah, you want to have every reaction that you commonly run into ready in your head, mentally prepared. So that way you never have to pause or fight through something that you've basically lost and just haven't updated in your brain that you've lost it yet. And just go to the next optimal thing. So I want to avoid all static positions, all pressure battles, unless it's a pressure battle where I have the natural positional advantage by a lot. And movement usually is very good for me.
Good. Oh, Andrew, and the last thing here that really caught my attention, that was amazing, is like how you pretty much do the same thing when I'm sitting, when you have the knee cut, right? So you pull my head up in order to not let me pull my head, in order to not let me push my head down and create a space to do the. So can you just show that part again and do the entire move just so everybody can see that in action?
Just a snap down into the knee slice?
Yeah, so when you go for the knee slice, you showed like not just keep going.
My knee's gonna.
Yeah, and then you showed like what you do if I try to get the underhook. You connect. Man, this was amazing. Like, because you almost feel like when you have the gi that the person comes here and pull the lapel up in order to. So you substitute that for controlling my head, right?
Yeah, and this is gonna lead to an immediate shoulder pressure finish because when you're sitting up off the mat, I'm able to get my shoulder level with your chin and your neck, and I'm able to go really deep on this right away.
And you also did something here with your elbows that you completely, I felt like a ton of pressure.
Here, your elbows go into the collarbone a lot. So here, just like maintain that
contact. I can't do anything over here, right?
Or you're here.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. No, that's awesome. Yeah, so guys, Andrew just shot this entire instruction all about his Buzzsaw passing no gi, and it came out really, really good. And it's going to be at IBJJFanatics.com soon, so make sure to check that out. And maybe by the time you're watching, it's already there. So thanks so much, Andrew. Yeah, that was amazing. Please help me out to grow my YouTube channel. Just click subscribe. And to watch more videos, just click under see more videos. I hope you enjoyed.
BJJFanatics.com. Use the promo code YouTubeFaria to get 10% off any instructional video. Improve your jiu-jitsu faster.